Hello and welcome to my studio. I'm Confidence Coach Sean. It's my first blog, so I thought I'd introduce myself to you. I am a PT and I've been a PT for nearly 10 years now. I have a PT studio based in Hertfordshire, England. I train many different clients, many age groups, nationalities and backgrounds, male and female. I just want to talk to you today because I noticed around my job and being out on the street and analysing my own behaviour, people's confidence are sometimes misled with things as clothing and jewellery and cars and external things instead of internal, instead of thinking from the head and being who you are, who you believe in. So I started to just analyse it a bit more, and hence why I started doing this blog. This is the first time I've done a blog, so bear with me, a bit rusty, not the most professional. So I wanted to just start looking at our behaviours and see if I can help people with it as well as myself. As I'm a father, I've got a daughter and niece and nephews, and in my family we've had loss of a relative through depression and suicide. So it made me look at my behaviour and other people around me to see if I could help people or including helping myself with how we can move forward with our behaviour and taking some care with our own mental health. So here I am, yeah. So what I found is that just trying to be true to yourself with your behaviour, really. Don't be afraid to make mistakes and can't be perfect all the time, and inviting new things into your life and taking calculated chances, not too many crazy chances, and being true to yourself. Being true to yourself, you know. Me, I've got my background. My background is that when I was a young child, my mother passed away before I hit my 4th birthday, and my father brought us up, and he brought up 5 of us. Brought up 5 of us. Just double checking there, and he'd done a reasonable job where we were surrounded by all sorts of different activities that we could have got involved in, or we were nearly coaxed into behaving a certain way, but because I believe that we were strong and didn't want to let our family name down, we held together, and my dad did a reasonable job, God bless him, you know. So what I'm saying is, you don't need to get sucked into bad behaviours. You don't need to be a negative on the street. You could be a positive, you know, be your true self. I mean, the background that I've been brought up in was it was quite tough on the streets. You know, we had different sort of gangs on the streets and fashionable sort of gangs as skinheads, and then you had the punks were pretty cool, and you know there was I grew up among skinheads, so the skinheads were cool. Everybody grew up around one another, but there was conflict among the different groups. You know, the rusters, and as I said, the skinheads and the punks and the mods, and you know the soul boys and you know the soul girls. So people were battling with one another, but I think in the end we realised that we grew up with one another. So you would see many different backgrounds at funerals and things like that. So you learn to cope with one another, but what I see out there today, you know, people are not being true to themselves. And in my job, I come across many different people, many different age groups, speaking about things that sometimes their confidence is lacking, and it's quite a straightforward, possibly a straightforward situation that they could deal with, because I see that they got amazing strength. I've got amazing clients and friends around me with amazing strength and super intelligent, you know, and but they can't tap in. Sometimes they're not tapping into that, tapping into what they have. So here I am. I'm here, and I'm trying to share the thoughts of how I try to look at myself and how I try to move forward. So maybe it might help you move forward. When I left school. As I said, going back to my upbringing, my one parent brought me up. Because I didn't know my mother because she passed away before the old memory kicked in and everything. Grew up probably being very angry and inside about that situation, and anybody who went near it was possibly gonna get it. So had to learn to kind of mould that and direct my energy in the right place. And lucky enough, I had decent teachers who put time in, and youth. There was youth clubs and youth leaders who helped me stop fighting the world, and partners who were patient and said, listen, you can't keep reacting like that. If you fluff the handle and got a bit crazy. So a lot of people, all different people around you can help you, giving you something to take on board, to think about, friends and family and associates and people you meet and colleagues. And you just need to take a little bit from each person, and it'll help you go along there, help you move forward. So here I am to try and help you guys move forward a bit with that. As I said, leaving school. I left school, didn't leave school much at all, behaving myself in school. The only time I didn't behave myself in school was when somebody was trying to probably take liberties, and you ended up having a fight here and there. But otherwise, didn't leave school with much, but tried to keep a nice clean record about behaviour. Got in trouble a few times, as you do, young lions. And I came out of school and the direction was all over the place. I was told there, what do you want to be? And I had looking at my brother that I have high regards for, and he was a mechanic, and I said to the careers officer about being a mechanic, and there you go, you're a mechanic, you're a mechanic, but you didn't know what you didn't know what you wanted to be at that time, but you didn't know, you just reflecting what's around you, that your parents a doctor, or one of your parents is a vet, or an artist, or an actor, or actress, or a dentist, or a surgeon, if only. But you might not want to do that. You might want to do something totally different. And what I found out as time went on, I was possibly more of a communicator than I was, academically. I had to use other skills, so other life skills. So this is what you have to do. You have to find out what you're good at, and focus on it, and it'll move you forward. One of the key words there is focus. When I started focusing, I actually achieved so much more. When I got my head down and didn't allow people to put me in a box to say you should be doing this. This is what you're here for. When I started examining that and thinking, hold on a minute, I'm sure I can do more here, or something inside of me is saying, no, there's more to you than that. I'm reacting to it. All of a sudden, things started happening. I've been a driver on the streets. I loved it. I drove trucks and vans. As I said, I went in as an apprentice mechanic, and I fitted exhausts, and I fitted tyres and truck tyres and under trucks, and I'm working in the mud and the rain, and I've run a small building company for 10 years. Hard work out there, and you're holding up for yourself and representing and walking up to the doors, and people had to carry yourself a certain way. So I've been out there doing quite a good bit. So as I said, when I started focusing and looking at what I really wanted to do and what I liked doing, I trained for 28 years. You know, I've been 20 stone bodybuilder, and I enjoyed it. Great. I was a machine back then. I loved training, and injuries come along, and that kind of stopped me in my tracks. And I trained martial arts and got into kung fu and karate. And I did that for a length of time, and I loved both of those, and became a teacher in Wing Chun martial art. My Sifu still rings me every day still. So I've had these different experiences, but again, as I started to focus on what I really wanted to do, here I am sitting in my personal training studio. I always said to people around me that I would have my own gym, my own PT gym, but I wasn't believing it. I thought I was believing it, but I weren't focusing on it. As soon as I started focusing, it came about. And there's maybe a few individuals out there that I watch, who are motivational speakers, and get your motivational thoughts going in your head to get you focused. And I could name, as you probably know, the big characters out there. Bob Proctor, Les Brown, John Rhodes. Many different people, many different books, many different books I've read. Audio books really, reading, I love my reading, but things I'm driving about, zipping about, so I listen to a lot of audio books and things like that can help you. So, the whole thing that boils around this is focusing on yourself, getting your head down, and dreaming a lot of the time. It sounds crazy, but dreaming, being real to yourself. You can do this, you can do this. If you don't believe in yourself, I believe in you. I believe that you can become anything you want. I think it's becoming more and more, visual, more transparent, because there was lots of things that used to be put out there around us that was making us think that we weren't allowed to move forward, or we needed a certain education, or we needed to be a certain level, everything had to be on point all the time. But not all of us are good at this. Not all of us are good at every single thing that's put in front of us. So you have to find out your strengths, and you need to work with your weaknesses. So as soon as you find these things, you will fly. As soon as you can believe in it, you will fly. There's many people around in the mainstream who had not as much advantage as you, the position that you're in, or even less advantage than the position you're in, and they stepped up and become possibly something that you look at every day and think, how do you want to be? So we go back to it. I started looking in the mirror and looking at myself and focusing on what I want to be. And I looked at myself and saw the grey coming into the beard, and the eyesight needing a little bit stronger glasses and things like that. And where I was this big monster, I had to ease off a little bit. I had to ease off with the old joints and things like that. But you can be what you want to be. You just need to get your head down, focus. If you need any pointers or anything, feel free to contact me. I'm the confidence coach. I'm based at Linton's personal training studio, and I'm up for helping anybody and everybody, because I believe that we can all make it, and that's what I want to do. That's where I want to focus my strengths and everything. So please join me on the journey, as this is my first blog, and I hope it was opening your eyes to what I'm about. There's more to me, and as I go along, I'll be better at this stuff, because it's my first time. Okay, thank you very much for watching me, and as things come along, I'll say subscribe to this down at the bottom. Lovely. Take care. It's lovely to talk to you, and I believe in you, and let's make it happen. Okay, take care. All the best.